Hello, innovators. I'm Todd Wyant, and welcome to the Bridging the Gap podcast presented by Great Tech Group. This episode was recorded live from Autodesk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where the brightest minds in construction, design, and technology came together to shape the future. Over the course of AU, we talked with industry leaders, innovators, and the change makers about the trends, tools, and ideas driving digital transformation in our great industry. So settle in as we explore how to model the future of construction innovation. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Bridging the Gap podcast presented by Great Tech Group. We are recording live here from Autodesk University and super excited to welcome back this year Rachel Tuller of Autodesk. Welcome back. Thanks so much for taking the time and joining us again this year.
Thanks for having me back, Todd.
So last year you were pretty new in your role. How's the first year been going?
It's been a busy year. We've been really focused on our new partner evolution and our new business model that we've been doing. So there's been no shortage of work to do, and I've loved every minute.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any lessons learned from the last year?
I think for me, did a pretty good job of listening. You know, the first few months that I was here, what our partners needed from us, and some of the things that we were facing with the new business model change, and being able to really just respond to those has been exciting for me, and being able to really move forward with our partners into this new era.
Yeah. So last year we talked a lot about kind of reinvention was the main theme of it. How have you seen that play out over this last year with the new buying experience, and how's Autodesk kind of been taking point in helping lead that transformation?
Yeah, it's really exciting. And what's fantastic is to see our partners really embracing the new model and distinguishing themselves more in the market with the value that they bring, right? So it's no more just always about the software. It's about really defining those customer outcomes and customer solutions, and seeing our partners adopt that and really lean in has been super exciting.
Yeah. So one of the big themes of AU so far has been data. And what do you do with data? How has the new buying experience helped enhance that data experience and being able to pull that to have customer impact?
I think there's two elements of that. One is the internal data, right? Being able to give our partners and expose our partners through our new customer value dashboard, expose them to the data that our customers' usage, of what they're doing with the software, how they're using it, who's using it, so that they can really drive maximum value out of the purchases and the expenditures that our customers have made. The second piece of it is really providing the insights into that data, right? Where are the opportunities? How can customers glean more out of the software that they're using? And how can they leverage that data themselves to really drive their businesses forward?
So how does that impact the tools then in Autodesk? And, at AU here, how should people kind of think of their experience and frame it with everything that's going on?
Oh, there's so much going on. I mean, we can't have an interview if we don't talk about AI, right?
Yeah.
But AI is critical to all of our success, right? Our customers need to leverage it. We as businesses need to leverage it. Our partners need to leverage it. And there's so much that we can do with it. I think we are just scratching the surface, the very tip of the iceberg. I was super excited to see it really built into our products and where we're going with this. And now our customers and our partners can take advantage of that. One of the things that I'm also very interested in is, the rapid deployment of the workflows that we're doing, right? Being able to show customers the value of this isn't just a feature. This isn't just a button you push inside the software, but it's really intelligent software now and can help you be much more productive. And then our partners layering their services on top of that. I mean, it's such a great outcome for the customers.
Yeah. I was really floored this year in Andrew's keynote with how far Autodesk AI has come in just the year. Last year, when he kind of previewed it, it was still kind of conceptual and it was cool promise. But this year, with all those live demos and stuff, it was like, oh, this is really here. It's happening. And it has really practical, tangible use cases.
It was exciting. And I've heard that from customers, here on the floor when we're out talking with people that, it's not just ideology anymore.
Yeah.
And I think our rapid acceleration, it just shows how fast the industry is moving and how Autodesk is responding to that. And it's a great place to be.
Yeah. So how do you build trust in this environment, especially with AI? Because there's, still a lot of kind of misconceptions, a lot of skepticism. How do you build trust in this space?
It all starts with communication, right? Communication is key. Communication with our customers, with our partners about how they're going to use the data, what the rules of engagement are, being really clear about the needs of what the customers are. And then I think the second thing is really just holding true to what we want the outcomes to be for our customers, and making sure that with trust, we've got all the security built in, which is fantastic. We've got amazing platforms that we're working with and amazing teams that are developing just great trusted, not just platforms themselves, but business practices. And that's something where our partners then layer in and bring your skills to the table. It's a circle of trust. And I think that's really critical because there's so much myth and mystery out
Yeah.
there about AI. And it's an education process.
Yeah. So how do you think about the communication cycle then in a partner ecosystem when obviously you have Autodesk developing the software and the tools there, but then you're working with partners to get the message across? How does all that kind of feedback loop work?
Yeah, so that's the holy grail, making sure that we're communicating early and often. But we did that with our business model change, right? We started a couple years beforehand saying, hey, this is coming. Let's prepare the teams. Let's make sure we're working together on this. Let's make sure we're addressing not just the how, but the why of what we're doing. And being able to employ that communication strategy, I think is really critical to building the trust and making sure that everybody is prepared as we come down. So we have multiple vehicles. We have social media. We have newsletters. We have all the different, but it's making sure those are all coordinated.
Yeah. So the hardest part of any big change is the change management aspect of it and trying to change people's mindsets and habits and workflows and all that.
Mhm.
How do you see Autodesk kind of leading the way in that change management process to get people comfortable in what's happening?
I think where we started, and you could see it here at this event, is talking about the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we leading this with our software? Why does the industry need to evolve? Why does the industries need to change and modernize? And that helps people get rallied around a common idea and a common goal. And then we can start talking about the how and when and everything else. But I think the why is so critical to what we're doing.
Yeah. I think it was really cool at the Autodesk AI booth. I got to spend some time over there and to see what is AI today, what's it going to be tomorrow, and then even further down the line of being able to have a conversation with the model and designing that way and kind of seeding this is kind of out there. It's not happening yet. Don't freak out, but
Yes.
it's coming, and this is the potential that it could happen. So kind of seeding the vision of it, I think
Mhm.
is really important there on the change management aspect of
I
it.
agree. I agree. And I think we all need to know kind of where we're going together and charting that path together is going to be critical.
Yeah. So in an industry that is experiencing a lot of change, a lot of new technology coming on the scene, AI, a lot of unknown there. How do you help in the partner ecosystem people feel less overwhelmed by everything that's going on?
It's a lot. And I think we have to prioritize, right? There's so much happening. There's so much change. It's like, what are the things that are really important to our customers that we can focus on together? It's going to be delivering IP, which you do really well. It's going to be understanding where the gaps are that we can fill for our customers. It's where the services technologies. So it's really aligning on those things together and then working together towards that common goal. And I think our role as a vendor, or a software vendor is to help share that vision and make sure that everybody is well informed as to where we're going together.
Where do you see the most kind of fear and resistance popping up right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's really about like what does that 2 to 3 year time frame look like? I think we all know what's coming this year, the next few months. We saw some of it live. I think there's always uncertainty about what's next and how are we going to handle it when it comes. But I mean, if you look back over the history of our partnership together and our partnership with our customers, we've weathered every storm. We went from license to subscription. We went from different models together. We went through desktop to the cloud. So there's been always lots of transitions and there's that kind of murky middle, but we always seem to come through it together. And I think that collaboration is really critical to all of our success.
Yeah, something that came up yesterday in one of the conversations that I think would be cool to get your thought on is it's important to deliver the right message to the right person, obviously, but then to also have the right messenger and be humble enough to be like, okay, this is the right message, but I might not be the right person to be the spokesperson out in front of it and try to find those champions. How do you think about that and when it comes to the communication aspect and helping to get the message out there?
I honestly think that's where we leverage our partners, right? Because not everyone is the same. We have different partners with different skill sets, with different layers of expertise, with different focus areas, and knowing who the right partners are to deliver that message with us to our customers is going to be critical. Even within the organization, we have folks that are informational and we have folks that are inspiring. And we're going to call on different leaders at different times, depending on what the rallying cry is, right? Are we really trying to get everybody rallied around this idea? Or are we trying to share information so that we can all feel confident about where we're going? And I think that's a critical point, different messages for different points in time.
What does future ready look like for an Autodesk partner?
Gosh, I don't think we know what the future exactly is right now, but
Yeah.
future ready is being prepared for anything, right? It's having a level of flexibility. It's having a level of fluidity in our business that we're able to pivot when we need to. A lot of the things that were developed here have been in development for a really long time. But boy, the accelerator went down 8 to 9 months ago, and other projects had to pivot to really deliver on our messaging for here. We are doing that ourselves, and we need our partners to do the same thing. So it's having an 80% baked plan and then allowing for that 20% flexibility to go, oh, we need to do this over here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the agility is massive. Obviously, we have to have roadmaps. We have to have a plan and a vision of where we're marching, but to be able to pivot in real time, which is not the easiest thing. Back to the change management aspect of it. People don't like to change. You have to be able to be like, all right, this is where the market's going. Let's put our resources over here. And
I love my sailing analogy, which says, you're sailing from the West Coast to Hawaii. You know where your end destination is, but you can't predict the weather. You don't know if it's going to be flat and you have no wind at all and you're going to have to crank up the engines, or are you going to have a tsunami coming at you that you have to navigate around and go way off course before you get back to the middle. And I think that's what we all need to be prepared to do.
For sure. It reminds me of something that I got really probably too into this summer. I was following an Instagram guy that why he decided this, I don't know, but he decided to row from New York to the UK.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. And it was amazing. It was like 4 guys that were out there doing it, and they had planned to do it in 40 days, but then it took them 50 plus days or something in the end, because within the first week they had capsized and hit this massive wave and all their equipment was dead. So we're navigating by the stars. They still got to their destination, but they had to pivot and do a lot of stuff.
It's that agility, which I think is critical.
Yeah. So how can leaders prepare their teams now for having that kind of agility mindset?
I think for one thing, looking back always gives us confidence, right? Hindsight is 2020. So if we look back over the changes that we've navigated before, being, assuring us or reassuring us that, hey, we've done this before, this too shall pass, we will get through this together, open and honest communication. I think the best thing we can do for our teams and for our partners is to provide clarity. Hey, we don't know this. We don't know what's next, or we do, and this is where we're going. And I think that level of clarity and visibility is going to be really critical to all of our success.
Yeah, I love that you just said being willing to share, like, hey, we're figuring this out in real time, and this is what we're confident on. This is what we think is happening, but maybe we need some flexibility here, and we'll keep those open lines of communication.
And it's a level of vulnerability that not all leaders are used to, right? But I think it's a muscle we all need to exercise, and it's something that we need to be a little more open with.
Yeah. So on the technology side is obviously super important. We're at a tech conference on a tech podcast, but how does the cultural side need to develop and shape in order for technology to flourish?
Well, the saying, culture eats strategy for lunch. So we can have the best technology in the world, we can have the best strategy in the world, but if our culture isn't bought in and our culture is not supportive of this or doesn't allow for that flexibility and vulnerability and honesty, we're going to get left behind as a vendor, as a partner, as a customer. So I think for all of us, it's really critical to just look back and say, okay, where have we had successes before? Let's build on that confidence and let's leverage that as we move into the uncertainty ahead of us.
Yeah. So what's the role of Autodesk, the partners and the customers in creating that culture?
Well, this is where I see kind of the Venn diagram, right? The 3 circles overlap between customer, partner, and vendor. And right in the center is that circle of trust. And that's where our customers need to trust us with clearly articulating their business outcomes and the pressures that they're up against and what they need to do and the problems they're trying to solve. The partners need to also come in and be really upfront about what they can and can't do and where they can help. And the same thing with Autodesk. Our solutions are awesome, but they might not solve everybody's problem. And so we need to be open and say, well, here's another partner piece that you could bring in, or here's a technology that might bridge this gap for you.
Well done. Yeah.
You saw what I did.
Way to get it. I did. I appreciate it. I like it. So with that cultural aspect of it, how do you know the change is actually sticking and really taking root? That's a long-term habit, not just a quick adrenaline rush high.
I think for me, the noise starts to go down a little bit because in change, when there's a lot, think about that boat when they were capsizing, there was probably a lot of drama going on,
I bet.
A lot of paddling, a lot of splashing, right? So as the noise kind of comes down, as we start to right the ship and move forward together, I think that's one of the key indicators. You start to hear a bit more of a harmony amongst the teams moving together towards that common goal. We all start rowing in the same direction, to continue with that analogy. But it's really about that level of that starts to come from the other side of the chaos.
Yeah. So as we are starting to look out, what's next for the Autodesk partner ecosystem and over the next few years?
I'm super excited because I touched on a little earlier. There will be specialty partners. There will be partners that have like a very distinct niche about what they do and what they offer. And being able to connect partners to be able to deliver more advanced customer outcomes for our partners, I think are going to be critical. The other thing we're looking at is new partners to support our current partners like AWS or others that have cloud services that we might not have otherwise worked with before, or Azure, right? Being able to bring in the cloud platform players to really leverage those big transformational projects for our customers.
Awesome. What excites you most about the roles that partners will play in the future of Autodesk?
Partners are critical to our growth. You've heard
You
our
think
stated
so?
goals of getting to 10 billion and beyond. If you've met my new boss, and beyond is a key phrase of his. So we're not going to get there alone. And any particular vendor cannot scale that fast without partners. And so for us, it's really about delivering the best outcomes for the customers themselves, right? Solving those business problems, but doing it together in a scalable way that means we can reach all the customers that we need to, not just a certain country or not just a certain market.
Yeah, nice. So bringing it back to AU here, what are some of the top takeaways that you hope people are getting out of this conference?
Workflows, right? I think that was the big thing we saw in Andrew's demo. It wasn't just features and functionality. It was really about thinking about the workflows that we're trying to automate here that can really help our teams be much more productive, be much more influential in our designs and the things that we're doing. So focusing on workflows, thinking about how we can use AI in our daily lives, right? I'm a student. I just signed up for a 45-day course on AI so that I can actually be more productive myself. And I think once I have a better understanding of AI, I can help my teams do that. I can help our partners do that. So it's being willing to be vulnerable and say, hey, I don't know this. I got to go learn more. And so being able to really focus on that and round out our skills.
I think that's one of the really cool things about AI right now is that it is so much the wild, wild west of we're developing it in real time, and you can kind of feel that excitement and energy, and it's pivoting and happening at the speed of light. I mean, it's constantly changing, and that's a really cool opportunity, I think, that we have at play, that we get to have a really big stake in defining what AI is going to look like.
And if I bring in some of my past experience, I think the other thing we all need to focus on is data. Data is king. It used to be content is king, right? Whoever had the best content, right? Now it's all about the data. And that also is the world that I come from, is with working with data platforms. And as Autodesk shapes their platforms with Forma and others, Fusion, and we're able to have that connected data experience, that's going to be critical to outcomes and give them, our customers, insights that they never had access to before, and help to streamline all of our effectiveness and productivity. And that's where we just layer AI on it to make it just that much more productive.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring up data. That's been a common theme that has popped up in
Shocking.
most of the conversations this week, is the de-siloing of data and kind of laying down our arms around being protective of the data, and how that's going to influence the next few years of the collaboration between all the different stakeholders is going to be interesting.
There's a couple of industries that we can learn from, right? Healthcare went there 10 years ago. They started breaking down these silos between hospital medical information, drug research information, clinical trials, right? And pulling all of that stuff together to see, what is the data telling us? And then what's the human behavior, and linking those two together. That has unlocked so much value for healthcare customers. I mean, think about what that can do for our industries too, when all that data and insights is available to all of us.
And you add AI into the mix there of the data to a human behavior, and really get cool insights on how to get the job site more productive, how to make safety a bigger deal on job site as well too. I think there's a lot of really cool use cases.
The convergence is off the charts.
Yeah, for sure. So with AU, you feel the energy and the hype, and I'm sure everybody has their list of notes and takeaways. Flash out of 2-3 weeks when the adrenaline is worn down. You're looking at the stack of notes, and you're like, there's so many good takeaways here. Where do I start? How do you encourage people to either kind of keep that energy going, or like disseminate the couple big takeaways to actually put into practice?
I think that's something that we need to do, right? Is really focus. There's so many different things we could do. So what are the priorities? And I like to break things down into short-term, midterm, long-term, right? Because there's some things we can do immediately that will unlock tremendous value for both our partners and our customers, right? Transition to the cloud, easiest one, right? How do we make that easy for people? More midterm. right? How do we really leverage more of AI to do the things that we need to do? How can we build AI into our channel practices and our partners, the engagement with you to make seamless, frictionless engagement with our customers that much easier, right? And that's more of a midterm strategy. And then long term, unlocking all the potential for our customers through multiple partners. Right now, there's an average of 5 to 6 partners and a lot of large customers. How do we make sure that they're all working together really well? That's on my mind a lot, but that is definitely a long-term strategy.
It's like the interoperability of partnership.
Yeah, just like all of our products talk to each other.
Right.
Which, by the way, thank you, product teams. You've done an amazing job this year. But they used to never talk to each other. Same thing with the partners, right? Or the customers. And so how do we leverage those experiences together to really create that flywheel of automation and efficiency for our customers?
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So as we start to wrap up, a couple of rapid fire questions for you. We're in the Great Tech booth. Tagline is modeling the future. What does that mean to you?
I think modeling the future is really shaping, like I said, looking at that long term and then coming back and putting the Lego pieces together for how do we get there? Really being tactical.
Nice. What does innovation mean to you?
Innovation is constant. Just innovate and iterate is kind of my tagline, right? Innovation is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing, it's a Japanese practice of Kaizen. Take something good and making it great, take something great, making it outstanding. It's just always that little 5%, 10% more of something just to make it better.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. How do people learn more? Where would you want to point them or direct them to learn more information on what's all the latest happenings?
I think they just go to autodesk.com. All these keynotes are going to be on there, all the product demos, everything else. So just dig in, set aside some time. I think for me, what I plan to do is block time on my schedule to go back and rewatch some of the keynotes that I missed and to really dig in on, some of the outcomes that I want to have for my team and my partners.
Awesome. Final question for you. If I could give you all construction power and you could snap your fingers and innovate one thing, what would you pick to innovate?
It's really hard. I have like 5 things. One of them would be a stronger presence in cloud marketplaces so that we can reach new markets together and that we can help grow and expand our partners' business.
Yeah. Awesome. Rachel, thanks so much for taking the time and joining the show again.
Happy to be here. Let's do it again next year.
Do it. Awesome. And now it's time for my Todd takes from this episode. First take, innovation is about customer outcomes. The most exciting change is that innovation is no longer framed as features or transactions. It's about outcomes. Partners and technology providers alike are leaning into solving customer problems, improving workflows, and creating measurable impact. That shift from what's the tool to what's the result is where true transformation happens. Second take, data plus AI should power workflows, not features. The story this year isn't about buttons. It's about end-to-end workflows driven by connected data and embedded AI. When insight surfaces in real time, teams move faster and make better calls. Practical AI plus thoughtful services create a multiplier effect for productivity and project success. And finally, trust fuels change. And start with the why. Change management begins with clarity. When leaders communicate the why early and often, they build trust that makes adoption possible. Add cultural alignment and open collaboration, and change shifts from something feared to something embraced. That circle of trust is where meaningful progress happens. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you are interested in learning more, you can visit our sponsor, Great Tech Group, at ASTI.com for more information. You can listen to this podcast anytime by simply going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, be sure to check out our website, bridgingthegappod.com. As always, I'm Todd Wyant, thanking you for joining the conversation to model the future on the Bridging the Gap podcast. Keep innovating.